The forest is their friend. However, this Ukrainian tank crew have to break cover to attack their enemy. And with the Russians just a kilometre away, no one hangs around on this front line. Stay low and move fast is the rule here, whether on foot or in helicopters which fly just over head height.
One more.
The two sides are close enough to exchange machine gun fire across no man's land. We were the guests of a Ukrainian unit created in March and now holding the line thanks to their own bravery and NATO weaponry like American anti-tank missiles and Italian mortars. The tanks came out of their hiding place to attack a Russian armoured unit that thinks it is safe in a forest 3 kilometres away. This pair of T-72 tanks arrived here from Poland last month. Indeed, every weapon this unit has came into Ukraine from abroad. It's quite clear that without NATO's help, this country simply would not be able to wage war. Between them, the tanks fire almost 40 rounds. 10 kilometers back from the Ukrainian front line, this is a bedtime story that's become all too familiar in the Donbas. The Russians targeted the apartment block just after lights out, when they were sure to inflict a bloody toll. This is one of the Iskander ballistic missiles striking the building. As the neighbours looked on, the rescue team recovered almost 50 bodies. And this was not work for the faint-hearted, not with Russian jets around. Not far away, in the city of Sloviansk, this building was destroyed by the same type of ballistic missile. The place was, of all things, a pottery. The strike happened at 4 a.m. and while you might assume the lone employee working here at the time literally had the graveyard shift, incredibly, he survived. And this is him. Sergei is in hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. He told us that when he was under the rubble, he could hear his phone ring but couldn't reach it. He then screamed for help and heard his rescuers answer. 2 hours later, he was free. We're about 10 miles from the front line, and the question is, why use a high-tech missile capable of flying 500 miles to flatten a pottery? The answer is it's a warning to the people of Sloviansk that their city is the next scheduled in the Donbas for the grinder. In short, this is an act of pure terrorism. In the early days, the war turned 8 million Ukrainians into refugees. Many have been living in centres like this, in Warsaw. Some are now returning home to the safer western part of Ukraine. Men of fighting age had to stay behind, and this is a husband and father being reunited with his wife and children as they arrive at Kyiv train station. There are cruelly contrasting scenes at the only train station still functioning out east in the Donbas. Every day, hundreds clamber on board an afternoon evacuation service. It's a bit of a squeeze. The cramped carriages are sad and sweltering. They can bring only what they can carry, but many are laden with baggage of the emotional kind.
Okay, I'm so sorry this has happened to you.
Among the passengers is 83-year-old Volodymyr from Sloviansk. Do you think you will ever see home again? I don't think so, he tells me. It's why I have my winter clothes with me. Of course I want to come back. I want them to bury me where I've lived my life. But I fear that's now just a pipe dream. The evacuation express is a free ride out of the war zone. If they were paying, not many of these poor people would bother to buy returns. John Irvine, ITV News, Eastern Ukraine.